The chilling wind howled outside as I lay in bed, unable to sleep. It was a stormy night, and the occasional thunderclaps made me jump. My wife, Emily, was peacefully sleeping beside me, unaware of my restless state. I tossed and turned, unable to shake off the feeling that something was off. Just as I was about to drift into a restless slumber, I heard a faint creak downstairs. My senses went on high alert, and I strained my ears, hoping it was just my imagination. But seconds later, I heard it again, a definite sound of movement. My heart pounded in my chest, and I gently shook Emily awake. "Emily, wake up," I whispered, trying not to startle her. What's wrong?" she mumbled, still half asleep. "I think I heard something downstairs. Stay here, I'll go check it out," I said, slipping out of bed. Emily's eyes widened with worry, but she nodded in agreement. I tiptoed out of the bedroom, my heart thudding in my chest. Grabbing a baseball bat from the closet, I slowly made my way downstairs, my senses alert for any signs of intruders. The house was eerily quiet, except for the distant sound of rain pounding against the windows. I reached the ground floor and saw that the front door was still locked. I breathed a small sigh of relief, thinking it might have been just the wind playing tricks on me. As I turned to head back upstairs, a sudden noise made me freeze. It came from the kitchen, a soft rattling of dishes. Fear gripped me, and I clutched the baseball bat tightly, my mind racing with worst-case scenarios. I crept towards the kitchen, every creak of the floorboard amplified in the silence. My heart pounded in my ears as I peered around the corner, and what I saw sent a shiver down my spine. There, standing in my kitchen, was a masked figure wearing dark clothes. Their face was hidden behind a menacing grin, and in their hand, they held a knife from our own kitchen. Panic surged through me, and without thinking, I let out a fierce yell and charged towards the intruder. Startled, the intruder turned and lunged at me with the knife. I swung the baseball bat with all my strength, making contact with their arm. They cried out in pain, dropping the knife and stumbling back. I took advantage of the moment and rushed towards the front door. I threw it open, hoping to escape and find help. But as I stepped outside, I was greeted by more masked figures, surrounding the house like shadows in the night. They laughed sinisterly, closing in on me. My heart sank as I realized I was trapped, and there was no escape. I backed away slowly, clutching the baseball bat, but I knew I was outnumbered. "You shouldn't have interfered," one of them hissed, their voice sending chills down my spine. "What do you want?" I stammered, trying to sound brave. The masked figures closed in on me, and the room behind them seemed to warp and twist, like reality itself was bending to their will. My mind couldn't comprehend what was happening, and a nauseating feeling overwhelmed me. Just as it seemed they would overpower me, Emily appeared at the doorway holding a phone in her hand. Her face was pale, but she was determined. "I called the police," she shouted. "Leave now." The masked figures hesitated, glancing at each other. The sudden presence of law enforcement had caught them off guard. One of them lunged towards Emily, but I swung the baseball bat with all my strength, hitting them square in the chest. They fell to the ground, gasping for breath. Suddenly, the house was bathed in flashing blue and red lights as the police arrived. The masked figures scattered, disappearing into the night like ghosts. The police searched the area, but the intruders were long gone. They assured us that they would increase patrols in the neighborhood, but the fear still lingered in our hearts. In the days that followed, we installed a security system and reinforced the locks on our doors and windows. The incident had shaken us to the core, and we couldn't help but feel violated in our own home. Time passed, and life seemed to return to normal. The memory of that terrifying night still haunted us, but we tried to push it to the back of our minds. One evening, I returned home from work to find a package on our doorstep. There was no return address, and it felt strangely heavy. Curiosity got the better of me, and I brought it inside, setting it on the kitchen counter. Emily and I exchanged puzzled glances before carefully opening the package. Inside was a single photograph, a picture of our living room taken from outside the window. Our blood ran cold as we realized that someone had been watching us, monitoring our every move. Fear consumed us once more, and we contacted the police immediately. They assured us they would investigate, but the realization that we were still being watched left us feeling vulnerable and exposed. Months passed, and the police investigation yielded no solid leads. We had no choice but to try and move on with our lives. but the sense of safety in our own home was forever shattered. Every creak of the floor, every flicker of a shadow, made us jump with unease. The intruders had invaded not just our home but also our peace of mind, leaving us in a perpetual state of fear. Though the masked figures were gone, their presence remained a chilling reminder that sometimes the darkness outside isn't the scariest thing. It's the darkness that lurks within those who wish us harm. And in the shadows, our nightmares come alive, revealing the monsters that have always been there, just waiting for the right moment to strike.